What is going on, and welcome to more Chapter 500 drops. Today I'm taking on Peter Griffin's home turf, Snooty Steps. How many games can I win? We'll find out shortly, starting with game 1. So here I am, starting another 100 drops. It's been like a month since I finished playing Reckless Railways, and although you probably can't really tell from the footage, my muscle memory is struggling. I mainly played Minecraft during this time, trying to finish some 100 days, but for that, I had to live, and for some reason, I'm really good at dying. At least if I die 100 times here, I can call it a video. I'm rusty, not familiar with the POI, and there's definitely a significant amount of players landing here. But hey, I got my first killing game for. It should get better over time, but the start of those 100 drops was extremely rough. Game 7, I even stole this guy's gun, but couldn't kill him, cause I can't play this game. Yeah, that was truly miserable. And the next game, this guy snatched the legendary just for me and wasn't useless. Then I got to actually trying to kill Peter and got disabled by the henchman, and it didn't go much better game 10. Well, so far, I got 1 kill in 10 games and didn't leave Snooty Steps yet. However, in game 11, I got more kills than in the last 10 games combined. Then Peter pushed me and I was shot in the back while fighting him. And the next game, I quickly looted up and went straight for Peter Griffin, who I killed for the very first time. He drops the mythic Pump, which is without doubt the best mythic together with the Scar from fencing fields close by. It's a great game path. I left Snooty for the very first time this game, definitely not because I was there alone by myself. I got a kill before taking on the fencing fields medallion guy and getting hold of 2 medallions and 2 best mythic weapons. I sniped a player coming from storm with me and spent the rest of the game in hiding, awaiting endgame. The final circle was largely water, and I thought I was hidden floating under this cliff. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. Snooty Steps have a very specific layout and are hard to navigate through, but I feel like I'm getting a better and better hold on it the more I land here. Being on the edge of the map often makes it one of the first places to be submerged in storm, and this game I was weak and didn't make it. Even though I know the place better, it still can't substitute that I'm just bad at the game altogether. Game 15, I once again got a weapon. My opponent didn't, but my aim spared him and he came back to kill me. Besides all the dying though, Chapter 5 is really beautiful. Just look at this night landing, and I'm on the lowest possible settings. A mass fight erupted at Peter Griffin's house. I managed to get 1 guy and die shortly after. I gotta say, the new Flowberry Fizz looks very interesting at the least. That's all. I prefer not to expand on this, especially with his skin. Under attack and low on health in the boss house, I decided to leave Snooty Steps completely. I succeeded in stealing this guy's car and drove off. Between game 2 and 3, I put that my opponents are easy in the survey from Fortnite, even though I was clearly struggling because I don't want to play with bots, and for 16 games, I haven't seen a single one. But it seems like the game finally realized I'm garbage because I just encountered 3 in a row. I eliminated the guy from fencing fields and got attacked by another player immediately after. Low and depleted, I held on for quite some time until he finished me off. Game 18, I landed on a llama nearby, then went to kill Peter and got shot from behind. Then I died killless the next 3 games. Not that it hasn't happened already. Game 22, I got Peter Griffin, looted the vault, and headed towards fencing fields, where I got sniped while fighting with the medallion guy. Another early death the next game, and I didn't even need anyone's help game 24. I did it all by myself. I'm a big boy. I've had enough early deaths game 25, so when I saw there's a train coming, I immediately headed to the station and hopped on. Didn't travel too far, just right over to fencing fields, where I killed the boss and looted the vault, just to die to the first real player on my way to the circle. I was unable to finish off this guy game 26. Luckily, he was completely lost and just ran. Peter was very low when I got to him, so killing him was no problem this time, and I ended up leaving Snooty in good harm. I met the fencing fields guy down near the vault, and once again obtained 2 medallions along with the mythic Pump and Scar. That's still not all though. I traveled all the way to Reckless Railways to find Valeria untouched and grabbed my third medallion. I would have had a great chance to collect all 5 if anyone decided to just collect the uncontested medallions that were now deep in Storm. I charged into it and managed to pick up the one from Lavish Lair. However, Grand Glacier was now just too far to even think about it. Oh, and all that effort was just to die 4th in a build fight. I'm just not good. You know, 26 games, it'd be nice having at the very least 1 win already, but I guess not today. This time I stole this dude's sniper and actually quickscoped him. But sadly, that was all I did that game. And I got jumped while killing Peter in the next. Game 29 I killed Peter, but didn't pay attention while looting the vault and got attacked. I was alone as Snooty the next game and then headed towards fencing fields again. It's really the only direction you can take from there. I eliminated the guy with the boss items along with 2 bots before I closed on 2 players with medallions coming out of Storm at Reckless Railways. I sniped them both and am now a proud owner of 4 medallions. But it didn't stay like that for long because I hunted down the last missing Infinity Stone, and even though the medallions were nerfed, having all 5 of them is still pretty brutal. I went on to get a bunch of kills after that, most of which were bots, and the more bots I killed, the more it started to seem like there were no real players left in this game. However, the top 3 turned out to be all real, and I was determined to play it safe. Not make any mistakes, you know. Not lose another huge advantage. I'm cursed, most definitely. Or maybe I just can't play endgames. It's probably one of those 2. I honestly think the reason I'm losing all my games is that I'm too aggressive. Maybe if I camped more, I'd have a better chance. The thing is, I just want to collect as many medallions as possible, and if I don't, someone else is gonna have the advantage against me. But sometimes, it's definitely better to lay low for a while, and maybe even wait for the top 2 instead of keep pushing those fights that I'm bound to die in sooner or later. Game 33, I looted the place alone, and then got dropped by the first person I met, and suffered an early death the next game. I haven't been ambushed right after killing the boss as much here as I was in Reckless Railways. There's probably overall a little less players landing here, but it definitely still happens. In the next game I narrowly survived this fight, but not the second. It looked very much like I was standing back up on my own feet, but the last couple games, I'm just reliving the beginning of those 100 drops. And yeah, I still died to my own cluster clingers. Nothing has changed. You know, I actually used to be good at this game 4 years ago. And game 40, well, I think it speaks for itself. My outstanding aim very much carried me again game 41. I'm not even surprised anymore. And the next game, I got 1 kill in the boss house chaos and got jumped from behind right after. Look at me, killing Peter for someone else again. How generous. As a matter of fact, I am very generous. If I ever kidnapped you and 3 generations of your family and slowly and painfully tortured them to death, while you'd be forced to watch everything you ever cared about lose consciousness, I'd let you cancel your Spotify subscription, so that you don't have to pay an unused service all your leftover money. And if you got OnlyFans, porn, and all that stuff, yeah, I'd let you cancel that as well. Cause if you're between 20 and 30, I guess that's a huge strain on your 9-to-5 wage, you know. Taxes, rent and food, and porn? With today's prices, you're probably either gonna starve or be jerking off on the street, my friend. But you're all below the age of 13 generation office anyway, right? You don't care about your family. The only thing you care about is watching Fortnite videos like this one on your little iPad. And even though I am relatively close to Gen Alpha, I am Gen Z, which is still an insult but a slightly smaller insult, and gives me the full moral high ground to say that we are the less spoiled generation. But yeah, we do watch a lot of porn. Not me, just generally speaking. So it's now after the update. Global warming happened, and there's no snow at Lavish Lair, and apparently Rebels Roost, where I haven't been yet. That place is a conspiracy theory for me this chapter. This game I was alone at Snooty and killed Peter, but was weak and had to shockwave away. Meanwhile, the storm closed in, but luckily there's a healing vending machine at the train station. So I patched up and went to collect the pump, medallion, and vault into the storm. On the way back, I patched up again and bought some mechas to get safely to the circle. I I spent the rest of the game just driving around collecting maximum material. Of course, holding a medallion, I was visible on the map, and the guy with all four started chasing me. I jumped into a rift, and we had an encounter on the other side of the circle, where I didn't manage to kill him, but clearly asserted dominance before he managed to escape. Instead of that, I started fighting with a guy who just happened to be around, and then made sure he stayed in the storm while I ran to the circle. Then it became a top 2. It was me and the medallion guy from earlier. I positioned myself on the far side of the circle, so he had to push me. Managed to get him low, and when it looked like he ran out of mats, I took my chance and got my first Snooty Steps victory royale. I tried my hardest to get a back-to-back, but wasn't so lucky to get a game without any encounters like last time. Then I had another not so flattering run of 4 games with only 1 kill, never leaving Snooty. In game 54 I looted Snooty and thought I was hidden behind his sledge at fencing fields. The next game, someone got Peter low for me, and as a thanks, I chased him down, although my aim made it much harder than it should have been. Someone else was waiting for me at the vault behind the stairs. Unfortunately for him, his timing was the worst imaginable. This guy damaged me significantly through my windshield on the way to the circle, but even despite that advantage, I still came out on top, and collected the fencing field's mythic scar and medallion. Got 2 more kills before fighting a long fight against another double medallion holder, which didn't bring any result. However, I sniped the dude when he emerged from storm, and got a hold of all 4 available medallions since no one looted the one from Lavish Lair. I came the closest I've ever been to the non-existent POI of Rebel's Roost, but because it's a fictional place purposefully created by the government, the final circle led me elsewhere. And the last couple of players were all just bots. It usually happens when you eliminate all the players with medallions, and feels really unsatisfactory. Also, I'm sure you all know my stance on AIs by now, but I got my second win. It also could have been a 5 medallion one, if anyone cared about Lavish Lair. A guy tried to catch me off guard near the vault again, game 57, but he didn't. And then I got myself into a collective fight at fencing fields. I was very weak when Storm came, and when I realized I'm not getting out of there, I at least made sure that no one's getting out of there. Also, one of them had 2014 in their name, so this one's for all of us boomers. Game 58, I died early in the tunnel between Snooty and the train station. In game 59, I dealt with Peter Griffin with a business turret, while he didn't seem to care, and then went on to dominate Snooty Steps. Got 1 more kill at the train station, before I died in a very close fight northwest of Ruin Reels. The next game I once again cleaned up Snooty, leaving with 4 kills in Peter's accessories, before I moved near Reckless Railways in Grand Glacier, where I eliminated a bot and watched this suicidal guy eliminate himself. He probably had some personal issues. However, I died in this house fight a little later, and this game I stole this guy's pump and killed him, just to die fighting Peter Griffin. Game 62 were all just bots until the top 10, where I met another suicide lover as well as my murderer. I eliminated this guy with no health for Matt's game 63. Then I killed Peter and opened the vault, where I waited for this guy behind the wardrobe. You know, it feels so good when you're jumping someone else, not so much the other way around. I died right outside of Snooty anyway. When the train is just as Snooty when I'm landing, I always get the temptation to leave and try my luck elsewhere. Although it's kind of like moving cities. The surroundings might be a bit different, but you're still the same tragedy of an individual. I got off at Lavish Lair, where from a distance, it looked like there were 2 players just hanging out. And of course, the person I am, I wanted to join him. Only it was an NPC, and the dude didn't seem to care I wasn't fighting at all. The following game, I didn't fit the landing too well and had to land on this gas station instead, where to my surprise, I wasn't alone. First, I pickaxed this bot to death. And the savage I am, I killed this guy only using a car. I enjoyed my moment of jubilation and then went on to lose Snooty completely by myself. I had a successful middle game, collecting 2 more medallions at Ruined Reels, and ended 4th after I got a race on the Loot Island. By the way, I really hate the Loot Island. Not because I just died on it, I just don't like a massive floating island in the middle of the circle each game. Plus, it was added in Chapter 4, and anything that has something to do with Chapter 4 is borderline extremist. In fact, we need to start a complete de-Chapter 4ization of Fortnite. I would erase Chapter 4 from history completely. Instead, A normal event happened at the end of an 8th season chapter 3, and then we went straight into chapter 5, which is also gonna be 8 seasons or longer. Anyone who praises or justifies chapter 4 shall be publicly executed. Done. End of argument. This is the only right opinion because it's my video. Game 68, I'm back on the train, this time visiting my old friend Valeria at Reckless Railways. I forgot what a privilege it is that the Mythic is actually good. The Hyper SMG is dreadful. I drove to Grand Glacier searching for the player with the medallion and found him barricaded in the vault looking for someone like me to fall right into his trap. I should definitely know to be more careful in those moments, yes. We now move on to game 69 where I was only able to kill Colonel Fox 41. However, for the real player, I was no match. Someone was lurking outside of the vault again in game 70. They always want to skip all the hard work and just claim the reward. That reminds me of someone. You know, there's still a couple times I die early and killless, but it's definitely much better than at the start. I should really at least warm up after not playing for almost a month next time. This guy also probably wasn't warmed up because when he saw me, he froze in fright. You should always fight or try to run away. Praying to God won't save you from death. And I would save myself from death if my close range score aim didn't fail me. I pickaxed the guy to death game 74 and then died while fighting Peter. We're now 3/4 of the way to the end, 25 games to go. I don't know why I said that. I have no follow-up. I was very weak when the storm came and counted on there being some heals in the vault. It was risky, but what was I supposed to do? Prioritize my life over a chance of slightly better weapons? No thank you. Then I headed towards Fencing Fields where I forced myself into this guy's vault with shockwave grenades and had no problem killing him afterwards. This used to be a strat back in the day in Caddy Corner with Kid's shockwave launcher. Oh, that was fun. Fortnite already pretty much announced they'll be doing an OG season again this year, which I'm not that hyped for as everybody else because they already did it. And it also most likely means chapter 5 will only have 4 seasons again. But if it's the start of chapter 2, the peak of Fortnite during the pandemic, season 2, 3, and 4, I would forgive Fortnite for everything they ever did wrong, just to play those seasons again. And I promise I'd make at least 200 or 300 drops that month. 100 drops every 10 days sounds impossible, but not if that goes off. This game I collected all 5 medallions and got 15 eliminations just to get headshot sniped in the top 2. I'm not getting another 5 medallion win, am I? I only got 1 this season in game 11 of Reckless Railways. That is precisely 167 games ago. Yeah, I ain't getting that again. Game 79 was the first time I found out there is a timer at the train station for when the next train arrives. Was that here this whole time? Or am I just blind? Someone shot me while fighting Peter game 80, and the next game I landed to Snooty alone, so I couldn't die. Although, I could still get killed by Peter Griffin and the henchman, which happens way more often than I'd like to admit, but this time I didn't. I instead ended it myself after I ran out of mats in a build fight at Fencing Fields, and I got ambushed after I returned to the vault I opened game 82. I wanna play at least the last couple games wearing Peter Griffin, who is unlocked at level 70, so I bought the level up quest pack, and I rushed to the other side of the map this game to claim the first available 7 levels. I'm still 4 levels short, but I should be able to get that before game 100. And yeah, I know I could get the levels in a completely different game, don't tell me, I just don't want to. It's not that urgent. Game 88, I first massacred Snooty Steps, and then I headshotted this guy from low ground. I continued this game with no problem all the way into the final circle in Classic Courts. With 8 kills and in the top 5, I abandoned the action and waited on a remote island until the top 2, when I started looking for my final enemy. And then I heard him coming up the zipline. It only took 1 shot to win my 3rd game from Snooty Steps. Game 89, I died immediately, and game 90, I totally missed the landing, and when I finally pulled up, I was no longer welcomed. The next game, I got all the way into the top 5 without meeting a single person, and then got outplayed to win 3rd. I could try to be a little more passive like last game, but in this day and age with medallions, it's just a really big disadvantage, you know. And finally, in game 95, I was able to equip Peter Griffin, and I used them until the end. Unfortunately, there is not that much to show from those games. 1 kill, death, 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 death. And in game 100, I got 2 kills in Snooty, the most ever kills with Peter, and then died to finish those 100 drops.